Hello and welcome to today's reading vlog. If you are new here, my name is Tay. I am an indie author. These are my two books, Venture Below and Venture Beyond. It is a YA fantasy full of a lot of adventure, a fugitive princess, pirates. It's very fast paced. The series is available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited if you want to check it out and support me. I am officially out of my reading slump and I cannot wait to read some more incredible books in today's vlog. I've been in the mood to read some classics and nonfiction lately. And there are three books in particular that I do not own that I really have been wanting to read. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dracula, and 101 Essays. That one I have read before, but I've really been wanting to do a reread of it. And I really want to prioritize annotating these books, which leads me to the sponsor of today's video, BookFusion. BookFusion is an e-reader app that allows you to read content in any format, sync to all of your devices, and beautifully export to Notion in an automated, structured database. What really drew me to this app was the ability to integrate it with Notion, which is another app that I swear by. It imports your highlights directly into your bookshelf on Notion, making it super easy to have all of your stats in one place. Today, we're gonna be using BookFusion to read and annotate those three books that I mentioned. Rosanna from Extra Text has an incredible video walking you through the variety of features that BookFusion has to offer, as well as a tutorial on how to set up your bookshelf using Notion. Most of BookFusion's features are free for Android, iOS, and desktop for a majority of readers, but BookFusion also has some premium features, and there's a couple different tiers. There is Casual, Advanced, and Power, which includes increased limits, access to current and all planned features, premium support, and even more advanced features. There is a link down below in the description for you guys to try out BookFusion and get their premium features. You can use my code TaylorAnn25 and get started with BookFusion today. Before we dive into the reading vlog, I want to set up my BookFusion profile, which I have been so eagerly wanting to do, but I wanted to wait until I was with you and we could do it together. Also, you didn't hear this from me, but BookFusion is also gonna launch some social features where you can update your friends on what you're reading, post reviews, as well as highlights, and you can comment on each other's highlights. I'm very excited for that. I'm kind of looking for something to replace my GoodReads. I think BookFusion is gonna be the app to do that. With all of that being said, let's make my BookFusion profile. I have my BookFusion account pulled up and we are quickly going to customize it. I'm going to upload a little profile photo. So I've got my profile picture. We're gonna go ahead. Oh, perfect. My full name. We're gonna put Taylor Ann Wright. For my bio, I think I'm gonna put an indie author who loves books. I think, do I like, ooh, dark mode, auto mode maybe? I think we're gonna go with dark mode. That looks really cool. Okay, we're gonna hit update profile. Cute! Oh my gosh, I already synced up my Notion. I was messing around with it just to like see how the syncing works, and it works so well, you guys. It already has in there how far I am into 101 essays. I just started it and I was testing it out and it works so well. And I did a little highlight. It's so cool that it literally updates your progress in it as well. Oh my gosh. And then it has a little summary of the book. It shows me my highlights and it can even say like the color it was, the chapter title, when I added it, where it was. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I used Rosanna from Extra Text's tutorial video to set this all up, and this is like the very basic form of my Notion template. You can make this as customized as you want to, so customizing this Notion template is definitely going to be something I do over time. All right, so now that we have that set up, I did already send it to my Kindle as well. I do tend to read on my phone more so than on my Kindle, but I have BookFusion in app form on my phone, so that's what I'm going to be reading on. And let's pop over to my bookshelf. I also snagged The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if I'm gonna read that in today's video, but I got it and I'm very excited because I've been meaning to read Sherlock Holmes, Dracula, our Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the 101 Essays. I think that's what I'm gonna start with because I've been really wanting to dive back into this book. So, ooh, can I add it to my favorites? Move to favorites. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Now that we have that all set up, let's get to reading. Hello, it is a new day and I am happy to report that yesterday we went to Las Cruces, and on the drive there and back I ended up reading some more of 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think, and I got to 44% of the way through it. I also added the sickest widget to my home screen. Look at that right there. And it shows my progress. You can also change that to like shuffle through the highlights that you have highlighted, which is also sick. But I will be using it to track my progress, and it's also so easy to just tap and then start reading again. I don't know how much more I'm gonna read from this nonfiction book right now in this vlog. I will read one of my favorite lines that I read. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So many of these essays I remember reading the first time, but they just hit different. Life has changed, experiences have happened, and I just feel like it has reframed the way that these quotes are in my head. The other news I have is that we went to Little Free Libraries and I picked up this copy of Dracula, and I've already have Dracula pulled up on BookFusion, so I'm thinking I'm gonna read these together in tandem. I want to have all of my annotations and stuff still online, so I'm thinking I'm gonna read this, but then anything I want to highlight, I'm gonna do it on BookFusion. I'm so excited. And also I don't really want to highlight or do anything in this copy because this edition is so sick, and that's exactly where BookFusion and Notion is gonna come into play. That is my reading plans for right now. We are gonna head to the state park. It's a beautiful sunny day, so I'm thinking we're gonna go there. I'm gonna bring this, and I'm also gonna use BookFusion and add in my annotations, and we're just gonna spend a lovely day right there in the state park. Let's go. Well, hello. It is a new day. I know it doesn't really look like it because I'm wearing the same sweater, but I have a reasoning for that, okay? I just got this sweater and it is the coziest, softest thing ever. And yesterday I only wore it in the morning because it started to get really hot, afternoon and evening, so that's why I changed and I wanted to be cozy again, so I put it on. Yesterday was really fun. We went to the state park, as you guys saw. We didn't stay. I had this really romanticized version of taking a blanket and reading Dracula. It was way too windy to do something like that. So we ended up leaving and coming back to the house. I read a lot more of Dracula. I'm taking my time through it. That's what I'll say. I am now 20% of the way through it. I am on chapter 7 and I have been annotating like crazy. I was reading out of this for a little bit, like pretty much just the clips that you guys saw. And then once I like set it down, I was just going about my day. I caught myself scrolling on my phone. Then I was like, why don't I read instead? Like, what am I doing right now? So I opened the BookFusion app and I started reading again in BookFusion, and I just read like that much more on my phone. I have annotated a lot of stuff. I'm using my red highlight, which is another thing I really love, is that you can choose the colors for your highlights. So for the 101 essays, I was using purple and like a little bit of green. And for Dracula, I thought it was only fitting to use red. That's the color I'm using, which it kind of matches what I'm wearing. I actually want to read you guys this quote from it. I'm really admiring the way that Bram Stoker's descriptions are written. They're so, I don't want to use the word flowery. They just have so much density to them. And I feel like I'm there in the moment with these characters. This is from Mina Murray's journal. Everything is gray except the green grass, which seems like emerald amongst it. Gray, earthy rock, gray clouds tinged with the sunbursts at the far edge hang over the gray sea, into which the sand points stretch like gray fingers. Ah! The gothic vibes. Always heard that Dracula is supreme in the gothic tone, and what can I say? They're right. With that being said though, I do want to check out the other book that I mentioned with you guys in the beginning of the video, which is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is the other book that we are going to be checking out today. I'm excited about it. I know nothing of this book aside from the main premise, which is that Dr. Jekyll turns into Mr. Hyde and it's like his evil side. That's all I know. So I'm really interested to start this one today. It's a short read, clocking in at around 105 to 112 pages. Okay, slay. We may finish it in today's video. I love that. I have no plans for the rest of the day, which is just chef's kiss. I'm thinking I'm gonna be reading this most of the day, but now that I know it's so short, I'm really gonna aim to try to finish this and give you guys my thoughts, because again, I know really nothing of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, so it is still pretty early in the day. I think I'm just gonna get cozy. Let's get to reading. Howdy friends, it is now 4 o'clock, but I have a pretty big update. I finished reading The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I finished it. Everybody's heard like, oh, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I know in my head at least, like I had thought like this was like a split personality, not really, but like a dual thing happening, okay? And that maybe Dr. Jekyll created Mr. Hyde as like this alternate persona. Like that's all I really knew. I don't know what I expected this book to be, but it wasn't what I read. It wasn't bad. Was it good though? I think so. I think tentatively I'm gonna give it like a 4 star. So Mr. Utterson is the main character of the story. He's the one kind of unraveling this whole thing that's going on with Dr. Jekyll, and he's friends with Dr. Jekyll. He's seeing his friend kind of deteriorate. There's a mysterious man in their city named Mr. Hyde, and everybody, the moment they see this man, they hate him. And they don't know why. Up until you get Dr. Jekyll's perspective, which is like, so you don't really know what is going on until you get to that chapter, which I thought is crazy. Like, especially reading this story for the first time, like I can imagine back in the day when this came out, and that is 70% into the book. Up until that point, you're thinking that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are two different people, and Mr. Hyde is like influencing Dr. Jekyll, basically. Mr. Hyde commits an act of violence. Mr. Utterson goes to his friend Dr. Jekyll and is like, yo, that Mr. Hyde dude that you're friends with, it just killed somebody. And Dr. Jekyll's like, oh yeah, I'm done with him. Like, he's gone. No need to worry. I promise, like pinky promise, that was a lie. A bunch of other stuff happens, but you don't really see how Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are connected until 70% of the way through the book, which was very interesting to me. I flew through that book. It was so easy to follow and like not as dense as I previously thought it would be. Like once I caught on to the writing style, like I did not stop reading that entire time. Maybe that means I did like it. I don't know. It just was not what I expected it to be. The ending kind of left you with just like a ta-da, that is it. That's seriously how this ends. I won't lie, I had a rootin' tootin' good time adding my highlights and annotating this. Ugh, I'm very excited to kind of shuffle back through those. I also thought it was really interesting Dr. Jekyll's reasoning and like the origins of Mr. Hyde, if you would. I will spoil it because it's a classic, so if you are meaning to pick up Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I guess just like skip forward a little bit. Dr. Jekyll wanted to create this alternate version of himself that embodied evil. Like everything bad, all of his like temptations, everything that made him not a good person, he wanted to pour into this alternate persona so that he, as Dr. Jekyll, could be the best version of himself possible. The problem started to come up where the lines between them started to blur. So when he was Dr. Jekyll, pieces of Mr. Hyde would come in or like tempt him and he'd want to be Mr. Hyde, and he's like, no, like I have to be Dr. Jekyll, like I'm a good guy now. That's the whole reason that Dr. Jekyll has a kind of tragic ending, is because he's so tempted to be Mr. Hyde again that it's to his own detriment. There's so much depth in that story itself. The messaging behind it, like, oh, I think I really like it. I think the more I'm talking about it and the deeper it goes, and like the examination of us as human beings, and that you need duality. You can't separate them things. You can't really be black and white as a human. You're gray. We all have good attributes and bad attributes. When you try to like sever that connection, it's not for the better, it's for the worse of the situation, you know? I don't know. There's a lot that I could reflect on with that book. I definitely think that now that I've read it, I want to get a physical copy to like have as a trophy on my bookshelf. I don't think I'm gonna pick up Dracula again in this video, to be honest with you, because it's so long. After reading Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I'm liking this. I like the story. I like what's happening. Me and Trevor just watched Nosferatu. I'm liking the vampire gothic vibe, but I think right now for my brain, that's not what I need. So I think I'm gonna pick up my 101 essays book and start reading through a couple more of those tonight. What's really sick is they have libraries, like a library section. There's 770 books in here. I'm trying to think, like, is there any classics I've been really meaning? Oh, let me go back up to the horror section. That's what I'm eager to see. Okay, The Magician, The Turn of the Screw. I've heard of that one. Oh, there's Dracula. That's what we were reading. H.P. Lovecraft short stories. That might be a possibility. The Beetle. Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, you're coming home with me. I think this might be what we check out. Oh my gosh. I think this is what we're gonna read. Edgar Allan Poe is, again, another one of those authors and writers that I have been meaning to pick up but just haven't. And the fact that it's free and I can just read it and annotate it, I'm gonna do that. I am gonna flip through the like intro bit. Here is the first page of the short fiction works by Edgar Allan Poe. With that update, let's get back to reading. Hello friends. I gotta say, I tried to read some of that short fiction collection by Edgar Allan Poe, and I have tried to read Edgar Allan Poe in the past. I think I've come to the conclusion that writing style just isn't for me. I did like the very first line of this short story. Horror and fatality have been stalking abroad in all ages. Why then give a date to the story I have to tell? I really liked that, but I tried to read some more. And I don't know if it's just not for me. I don't know if I've read too many classics this week or what it was, but it just wasn't flowing, so I'm not gonna force it. That is all of the reading I did. After I updated you last, I did have my little breakfast, drinking my coffee. I'm having a good day. I'm excited to continue using BookFusion and its incredible features to annotate and highlight my books in the future. I wanna give them a huge thank you for sponsoring today's video, and this is your reminder to use my code TaylorAnn25 when you sign up for their premium features. If you want to try out BookFusion, the link is down below. And that's the end of the reading vlog. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I am going to be filming a lot more reading vlogs in the future. Make sure to give this video a like if you liked it. Comment a book emoji so I know that you are still here. I want to give a huge shout out to my members. I love you guys so much. You were the first to see this video. If you want to be a member, the link is down below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get notified every single time that I post a new video or I go live, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!